So first thing we're going to do is just going to quickly log into Webmin and log into the site itself. Now I've got it on port 8080. Yours will be different, but you'll notice at the moment we're not running a secure site. There's no padlock there. So let's log into the server itself. You could also do this SSH into the box if you wanted to. And what we're going to do is we're going to install a certificate on the box itself. So first thing we need to do is we're going to use certbot. It'll give us a free certificate. We just need to make sure the server name there was set, so we'll apply those changes. Obviously this one's called wordpress.depicus.com, and you'll see there in the middle it tells you on port 8080 wordpress.depicus.com. So now we've got that, I've put a gist up with all the details in. All the commands we're going to use today will be on the gist, and I will link to that in the description below. And I'm just going to log into the box. Obviously the first time I've logged in, so I want to say yes, I trust the connection, and we're in. And the first thing we're going to need to do is get hold of certbot. Do not use the version that comes with Ubuntu. So you can do a sudo apt install certbot, but that version isn't the latest. So what we're going to do here is we're going to use the certbot's own repository, and we're going to install from there, so we know that it's up to date, and everything will be as it should be. So we are just adding the repository here, and we will just do one final update, and then we will install certbot and certbot Apache, because we're using Apache web server as it's the most popular. There are alternatives, and if you go to certbot's website, again I'll link in the comments. So I'm going to do a DNS challenge. It's a lot easier if you've got a front-facing server or an internet-facing server, but this is just a test machine. So I'm going to quickly show you how to get a certificate for a test machine. It can get out to the outside world. It just you couldn't get into it from the outside world. So we're going to do a DNS challenge. It'll ask you whether you want your IP logged. You have to say yes to that. Then it will give you some details to put into a TXT record on your DNS settings. So we'll quickly flip over to those DNS settings. I've got my DNS settings at fasthost. You see here I put in acmechallenge.wordpress and the code that they've given me. We'll just check it, VRAA, yeah, so all the same code. And before we continue, just want to make sure that the certificate is actually, or the TXT in the DNS is has replicated and is live. So I'm going to go and use MX Toolbox. You can use anything you like that will check TXT records, but this one's always been fairly reliable and available. So just scroll down the list. It can check quite a few things, as you can see, but we're looking for TXT records. and the domain name you want to put in, if you go back, is the Acme Challenge. So we will just copy that out and paste it in here, and that should give us, yeah, there you are, VRAAY. So we know that the record's up to date, so we can press enter to continue, and it will start to verify the DNS challenge, and it will issue certificates and store them in the location on the box. So we now have the certificates. We just need to add these certificates to the website itself. So we'll just close that, and we can exit out of the box here. So we can close that. We don't need that anymore. So we need to pop over here, and in the directives here, if we look in our gist, we'll just copy that in, and you'll need to obviously change the location of the file. So etc. Let's Encrypt Live will always be the same, but obviously the domain name will be different. So we get an error here, SSL certificate file, which usually means that a module hasn't been enabled, and as we haven't got any existing SSL sites on this box, I'm gonna guess that it just doesn't have the SSL. So we go into global config and check the modules, and we are looking for SSL, which is down a bit, and there we go. Yeah, SSL wasn't enabled. So we will just go to the bottom and enable that module, and make sure that we then save again. And I should have applied changes before, but all applied now, and then we still get an error. So that's because normally we would redirect from 80 to 443, but I'm doing it slightly different. So we'll just change it to HTTPS, and obviously we look at the certificate now and it exists, but we're using 192.168.43.216. So what we're quickly going to do is on my machine, and you wouldn't need to do this in a live environment for a frontward facing box, but I'm just going to show you, if you're going through testing, a quick way to do it is if you go into etc hosts file, and in there you can add in the 192.168.43.216 address and point it towards wordpress.depicus.com. So it means that this local machine that I'm on, when I go to the website, it will, and only this machine will know that wordpress.depicus.com translates to the 192 address. You see we still have problems here, and this is one of the great things about WordPress, is that when we set it up, we set it up as a 192 address. So you can see the certificate's valid there, but when we check to see some of the assets, the resources, a lot of them have failed because they're on a 192 address. Why WordPress still do that in this day and age, I don't know. It is rather annoying, but it's very easy to fix. If you do a lot of WordPress sites, as I do, we'll stage them on a staging server first so the development and marketing team can see what they're doing, and you change these when they go to the live site. So basically in WP_options, you can just change it to HTTPS and add the WordPress.depicus.com. This, if you're doing it on a live site and you've set it up originally with the IP address, if you set it up with the domain name straight away, you wouldn't need to bother with this. But if you're staging WordPress sites and copying them over, and I'll do a video on that in the future. But if you are staging them on your local machine and then moving them over, then you'll get used to doing this. It's mildly annoying, but if we reload the page now, and you'll see that everything came in and we didn't get any errors, so it looks back to normal, and we have the padlock to say that we are now secure. And we can have a look at the certificate again, not that it would have changed. So next up, we want to get rid of all of these pesky kids that try and log into our machine. So first thing we need to do is check to see whether mod rewrite is enabled. So we're looking for rewrite, and it is R, down a bit, rewrite. There we go. And we will enable that module. And one thing I'm going to do as well before we go any further, I'm just going to change the major version here, so if we do allow any error pages, they will be written out. So the next thing we're going to do is make sure we can use mod rewrite. So we're just going to add some directives in here. So this is our local machine, and what we want to do is allow override all. So this will allow our mod rewrite, our rewrite rules to work. So we just apply changes on that, and I'm going to, and you'll notice there that we flip to the FBI website every time somebody comes to look for PHP in my admin, and many other sites that or pages that they will try and come in on. You can add to that list as much as you want, but these were the ones that I tend to get on a fairly regular basis, so I redirect them. This next batch is basically to block access to files. We're going to put this into the website itself. So starting from the top, it just denies access to SQL files or backup files, just in case you accidentally leave any in there. There would be nothing worse than somebody getting one of your backup files and being able to read through them, or an SQL file to see what was in your database. This one denies anything with a dot in it, and then some mod rewrite rules. These are files that should never be called directly. Only WordPress itself should call these, so you shouldn't need to do these. A couple more, only request, get, put, post and head, and some headers here, which I've not enabled all of them. So we have a slight problem here on the base file is only valid, and that's because I copied it across from a file that didn't have WordPress in the root. So we will just take that line out, base rewrite, and then we will apply changes and just reload that. So that's basically just going to block a lot of the little script kiddies as well. This final one will block access to your admin section to anything other than localhost or any IP that you want to. I tend to do it just so I can't change, or nobody can change admin stuff. So you need to pop over to your WP admin, create a file, htaccess. We'll have done this before with the other ones, and then just edit in and paste in here. So allow from xxxx, whatever you want to do. So you can do a single IP address, or you can do a range. So you'll see I've got the 192.168.43 range, or you can do just a single IP. And that's it. That's securing WordPress for today.